You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
This is Randy. In the future, French fries will continue to be French fries unless they're made out of rich people. Then they will truly be freedom fries.
This is Melanie. And in the future, starving artists will starve because AI will be better at painting and writing and all the other arts. So people will buy that instead.
This is Jesse. In the future, podcasters will have a meter on their mic that not only measures the volume levels, but also the excitement levels. So when you get like 2/3 into your episode and you have a blood sugar drop, you'll know that you need to get a snack and perk up.
I love that idea. And I know
Or sit up if you're on your sectional couch.
Yep. I was going to say, I know who I'm buying it for. Welcome to the Grawlix podcast, episode number 74.
Oh, man, we were so close to an anniversary episode.
Is it 74? It is 74.
Yeah.
Confident, baby, confident.
Oh, episode
Confident.
number.
We were confident. Yeah, it's 75. No, it's 75. It is 75 because 74 was Saga Volume 2 and we're at 75 right now. It's on.
Yeah. Why'd you even question it?
We didn't.
We didn't. 75.
That didn't happen.
Don't rewind.
Yeah, 75. That's a milestone number.
That's an old man.
We did it. We did it. We're done.
Yep. This is the last episode, except for the one we're recording
for the
immediately
first
after
part
this.
of September.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what that is.
This is the last
one of
Grawlix
those.
podcast episode we're releasing today.
I just slipped into my GCU extended universe voice.
Your announcer, Rick. Rick,
Yeah,
Rick
my
announcer?
what's his name?
Rick.
Is it Rick
Nash.
Rick on Glow?
No, it's
Rick and Glow.
Yeah.
My Glow Rick.
What is
My
his
Rick
name
Glow.
on Glow? The
I don't
announcer.
know.
Like not Nash, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways, I slipped into that voice. I was like, he's oddly Rick.
you know what?
Rick-esque.
That's an appropriate thing to bring up because this episode, we're not going to talk about comic books. We're going to talk about TV.
Yeah, but good TV.
We are.
Glow is good TV.
No.
No, Glow it's TV you can't stand to watch. That doesn't make it bad.
Okay.
It's good if you could take out all the cringy stuff that makes it hard for you to watch.
Impossible.
You know, Holly hates cringy TV, and she even like audibly said, "Glow is good TV."
Well,
Oh, I heard her audibly.
Yeah, you heard
She
her.
said
You
it.
heard it. She audibly said it. Oh, here she's coming to the mic.
Oh,
Glow is good TV.
yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't get through the first
Wait,
episode.
are we arguing?
Melanie couldn't get into it.
Oh, I couldn't. I can't watch it. I have to leave.
Glow is good.
It's
It's
the
the same with what's it called The Office. I know The
Yeah.
Office is good though. I do know it is good. I can't sit in the room through a whole episode. I have to leave.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and granted, there was that one episode where we were like, oh, Holly was like, oh, but the ending is such a good payoff in Glow season 2, the super cringy, awkward episode.
The one where
meta
they
one.
where they basically do an
Yeah.
episode of the show itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I loved it, but it's so cringy. It's like cringy beyond cringy. But then the payoff at the end, it was like, oh, drama. I need to watch the next episode now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm just.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I didn't.
It's disabling to me.
I had you watch the first episode because I like the show. I think it's a good show, but I knew I was like, this is going to be hard. This might be too much, and it was. So it's all good.
I know.
There's better shows. It don't matter.
I just.
Hey,
Yeah.
but it's okay. It's okay, Grawlix podcast universe. That's not even what we're talking about today.
No, we're not.
No,
We're talking about
wow.
Something I can watch.
We're gonna talk about Westworld.
Yeah, that's good.
Ooh,
It is good.
It is good. It's very good.
Yeah.
I need to mark the calendar for whenever season 3 comes out because that seems like a Westworld movie seems ripe for a GCU episode.
Is there a movie?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You should do a
From, like, the
Westworld and
70s.
Waterworld
Oh.
mashup.
Westworld and Waterworld.
Holly came in from the other room to give me a side eye on that one.
I don't know why everybody's so down on Waterworld. I didn't think it was that bad.
That's why it's the best mashup.
I'd be curious to watch Waterworld again because, I didn't think it was horrible at the time.
It's probably closer to reality than any of the other futuristic shows.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we're all...
And Dennis Hopper, man. I could watch Dennis Hopper
I just remember that the
change oil. I don't know.
the bad
They are the Republicans right there. That's the Republicans. The smokers are the Republicans.
They were the
the
Republicans.
evil
yeah.
smokers. Oh god,
They're still dependent on oil. Jeez.
that's a good point. I was watching. Okay, so I know I'm sure we have in-house, but let's get a little random TV talk here because it's relevant. I've been watching The Crown. Oddly enough,
Okay. Oh, with Matt Smith is on that, right?
Matt Smith. It's got a doctor. It's checking my marks here. It's got a doctor.
Right.
Season 3, which is not aired yet. Olivia, what's her name? Ellie from Broadchurch is going to play the Queen in season 3. So I was like, I kind of want to see that. And also, we were watching a YouTube video about the most expensive TV shows of all time, and it is the most expensive TV show ever made. They've actually built a full-scale replica of Buckingham Palace for this show, which is insane.
Holy cow.
I know. That's craziness.
Yeah.
You don't do that unless you plan on being around for a while.
Yeah.
Kind of like West Wing, it's like, if you're going to recreate the actual location, you're planning to be there.
And I just finished season 1 of The Crown, and it's good. It's surprisingly good. I didn't really expect to get into it. I just kind of threw it on out of curiosity, but I'm enjoying it. But my point is, one of the episodes has to do with this real event that happened where basically they're burning all the coal and all the coal, the emissions or whatever, all the monoxide or whatever it is that basically it all gets trapped in the city where it's just a coal smog for days. And
Now, is this a period piece show?
It is a period piece. Piece. And a couple of things that I like about it because I'm not big on period pieces because a lot of times they're kind of dull.
Especially if it's I mean, no offense, but if it's a British period piece, a lot of times
it's like the most British period piece. It's about it's about the royal family. It takes place for the most part. I guess every season's going to be a different decade. One of my issues with like historical dramas or period pieces is a lot of times you can tell it's just like you're getting an abridged story. They're hitting the big historical moments, big events. And while season 1, anyway, I can only speak to season 1, does that, every episode kind of like, you can kind of tell it's like, oh yeah, the death of so-and-so or this like national event or whatever. Like you can tell they're hitting the events, but it still feels like one cohesive, smooth plot. And I'd say over the course of this first season, I mean, there's some flashback stuff, but for the most part, the main plot, it takes place over a couple of years, but it doesn't feel disjointed like or like historical dramas sometimes feel. It still feels cohesive to where, for the most part, at the end of every episode, you're kind of like, oh, it's got that Netflix thing. It's got that binge-worthy stuff where you're like, I want to know what happens now.
I was just going to ask if that's a Netflix original, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I had the number offhand, but they sunk so much money into that show. Also, Winston Churchill, played by John Lithgow, and he's amazing.
Oh,
it's so good.
Oh, I could about see it. I mean, in my mind, the guy that played Churchill for Doctor Who was pretty darn good, but like Lithgow's not too far removed from that image.
The guy that played it, like Lithgow,
he's like a skinny version of that guy.
It's interesting because Lithgow, and I don't know how much of it. I don't know like what kind of padding or prosthesis, or maybe he's just gotten heavy set in his older age, but they give him the hunchback thing, the way he holds his face, and just his, like, he doesn't have the total round head like a lot of times they cast Winston Churchill, but like it's again, I haven't seen Lithgow in anything for a long time, so he's much older than the last time I recall seeing him, but he's always seemed kind of old actually. But physical transformation, solid. Like he inhabits it. It looks totally appropriate.
I'm hard pressed to think of a Lithgow performance that I didn't at least enjoy, like or was entertained by, because like he's had some stinkers you know.
Oh yeah, sure.
But he's still entertaining somehow, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like he plays Fat Amy's dad in Pitch Perfect 3. So yeah, there's a total guilty pleasure admission right there. But like he's I mean, like that's not a great role for him, but he still plays it entertainingly.
Well, I recommend it. I recommend checking out the show, like to anybody. If you check out the first episode and like it kind of catches your attention, yeah, I'd say it's worth watching. If not, you know, whatever. I can't fault you. It's a historical drama about the royal family. But if anything, check out Lithgow. Like look up a Lithgow Winston Churchill video or something on YouTube. It's pretty good.
Right. Have you watched West Wing?
No.
Okay, I was just gonna ask, is it kind of like a British West Wing? Because it kind of sounds like a British West Wing, sort of, except with the time jump. You know, like West Wing basically followed, was it Martin Sheen's presidency throughout their seasons, kind of thing.
It's kind of interesting because it's one thing that makes it unique, and I really question how accurate it is, but one thing that makes it unique in terms of like a historical drama is it does pretty well at focusing on the human drama aspect. You kind of get involved in, it's not soap opera level for the most part, but you kind of get involved in, I'm assuming, somewhat fictional portrayals of real people and like what's going on with them. And it does get a little bit into, I mean, it obviously has like gets into the political stuff, but it doesn't dive super heavy into it. I was a little worried the first episode. I was like, there's a couple things I was lost on. I'm like, I don't know anything about how the royal family operates, the Queen of England and the head of the church and their relationship with the government and all that. So I was a little worried that I just wouldn't pick up on it. But no, it does pretty well. I didn't feel lost as it goes along. And you kind of like, it doesn't make a point to be like, well, this is how this works, but you pick things up as it goes.
Well, Netflix is probably a good model for that because they know they have an international audience.
Mm-hmm. That was a big sidetrack conversation based on like, what was it? Burning coal. That's what it was. It was.
Is that what goes there?
The Waterworld smokers or the old Republicans burning coal.
Oh, those old Republicans
stuck on oil, and somehow that's like
the Dennis
crown.
Hopper party.
Dennis Hopper and Queen Elizabeth II hanging out, burning coal. Actually, I guess
want to see that.
I guess
that's impossible. I mean,
guess it'd be Winston Churchill.
Maybe we can get some AI to replicate that based on old footage.
AI entertainment machine, make us that.
Yeah, do it. We Alexa, can I get Dennis Hopper Queen Victoria mashup? Do you have any in-house news?
All I have is our usual Grawlix Cinematic Universe stuff. Just real quick, last episode, if you haven't checked it out, you should. We talked about Seven and Hellraiser. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
You can hear Jasper's fantastic, and I'm so glad he went on this rant. Jasper loses his mind about the Cenobite that wear the fat Cenobite with sunglasses.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Butterball is his name.
Yeah.
He loses it over that. So I was really glad to hear that because I agree with him.
I mean, I'm always interested in your opinions, but I am totally waiting to see what Jasper's reactions are to these movies.
Oh no, I know. Me too. Like,
because he's the virgin to both of them, right?
Yeah, he hasn't seen. He hasn't seen Seven or Hellraiser, and he always pushes me to go first. But I'm just like, dude, I love these movies. Okay, I want to hear what you say about what you think about them. Mm-hmm. Also, highest rated movie we've done on the show so far. One of those two movies got a perfect score from both of us. That's a big spoiler.
I can guess which one it is.
Yeah,
I can probably predict that, but tune in.
And then next episode of GCU, so in 1 week from the day that this episode drops that you're listening to of Grawlix Podcast, we will be it's going to be action-packed episode. I'll finally get to talk about Hardcore Henry, which is the whole I watched Hardcore Henry and I was like, I have to talk about this movie with somebody.
Right.
So we're going to do Hardcore Henry and Crank 2 High Voltage.
Fun.
Oh man.
Just over the top action. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was your adrenal gland ready for that?
No.
No.
It's Jasper's.
Oh man, it's Point Break is like a day at the matinee. It's
Or
like
a
a
day at
good,
the
like a
beach.
massage. It's like a massage and a spa treatment compared to those two movies.
After I watched Hardcore Henry, instantly I was like, what's the other like most insane over the top action movie I can think of? And I was like, the Crank movies, specifically Crank 2 is just insane.
Yeah.
I think those would be a great double feature.
Yep.
That's what's coming up.
That is exciting. Yeah.
We're going to have to like
Keep a defibrillator.
bust out like a treadmill so we could keep our the whole
Keep your
episode
heart rate up. Yeah. Like speed, but for your personal organs.
Oh yeah, defibrillator every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If there's a break in conversation,
Yep.
Shot of adrenaline right into the heart.
oh, I should have bought a taser. Just
Should have bought a taser. That's a
Shoulda bought a
bumper
taser.
sticker.
we're gonna get two mic stands for each. On one the microphone, on the other one taser. Conversation's not going quick enough.
Yep. And that's where that's where my future prediction comes in, because your excitement level will determine whether or not you get tased. Don't
Yes.
tase me, bro.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good.
Jasper, you better be listening.
Don't tase me, bro.
All right, what do you got, Jesse? That's all I got for you.
Okay.
listeners.
All right. First of all, I want to shout out Andrew Schmidt. I know you guys already did. Just to make it official, we have a new puppet enthusiast Patreon, and that makes me excited every time because, I'm a puppet enthusiast. So we need more of them. We need more of them, even if they're in name only. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you for being a listener and for now being a sponsor of the show.
Yeah.
Someday we should have them talk to us and be like, and now a word from our sponsors. And they'll just be like, hey, or something like that.
Yeah, like that makes me sad because I've been, it's been in my thought process that we need to have Andrew do an interview episode for like probably 2 years. And I'm at all these cons with him, like literally next door to his booth. And I'm like, hey, we should podcast. And he's like, yeah, we should podcast. And then we get busy because cons are crazy busy. And then it doesn't happen. But it's going to happen. Like, I don't know. Even if I have to show up like 2 hours early to the con sometime, it's going to happen.
Now he's paying us $5 a month. It better happen.
Oh, it better happen. Yeah, for real. For real. It should have happened before. Now it feels, what's the word? Gleaned or I don't know. The next thing that I have is it's Make Eternia Great Again, which is very clearly a play on the political phrase, but they're not political at all. They're a He-Man podcast. The most recent podcast as of this recording was about Faker. And Faker was like the bizarro He-Man. He was like He-Man, but he had like orange hair and he was blue and he was a robot and he basically wore Skeletor's armor kind of thing, but he looks like He-Man in every other respect. So that episode, there is a skit, like kind of would be the mid-roll, kind of the mid-roll skit kind of thing is, it's like an old school He-Man PSA, but it's about a chili cook-off, and I feature as the voice of Ram Man. That's a thing I do now. I am Ram Man, apparently. So if you're interested in that, check out Make Eternia Great Again. They are part of the Podcast Arcade podcast network, which would be my second, it's tied for second in my favorite podcast networks. Obviously EMC is my favorite. And then tied for second would be the Pro Wrestling Mothership podcast network, because I mean that's kind of a gimme because they're part of the EMC podcast network. But I love their work. And then also the Podcast Arcade. They kind of situate themselves in that same place in my heart, which is at the very, very top, the very top of my heart. So yeah, if you like He-Man stuff and you particularly like Ram Man, I get to be Ram Man in the latest episode of Make Eternia Great Again. So check it out.
Nice.
Yeah. And Ram Man almost sounds dirty, actually.
My Ram Man actually sounds oddly like my Grawlix voice. If you've ever seen the Instagram videos where I'm Grawlix, I'm very much, hey, I'm Ram Man. I'm going to hit this thing with my head again because that is my special skill. I hit things with my head because I have an armor cap that is specifically made that I can hit things really hard with my head. And that's the kind of character that I play. So
Fun.
it was pretty fun. So I thank you to those guys for letting me do it, and check it out if you're interested in that kind of thing.
Does She-Ra ever make an appearance on any of these He-Man shows?
Who's that?
She-Ra.
She hasn't yet on this podcast, but
How do
yeah,
expect to have-
they did crossover episodes. They did like The Power of the Sword was kind of a He-Man pilot. It was like a He-Man / She-Ra pilot, and I think they used those episodes basically as the first 2 episodes of She-Ra.
Okay, good. Well,
So
they need to have women represented. Otherwise,
honestly, if you look back at those episodes, and I love me some He-Man, but if you look back at She-Ra, I think the She-Ra episodes were maybe a little better produced. Like they didn't use the same stuff over and over and over. Like He-Man, you'd see him run, and his walk cycle was always the same. Like they just recycled so much animation so they could crank out as many episodes as possible. Whereas with She-Ra, I think it was less recycling of cells.
Yeah.
Like
that's
she
because
actually got better animation.
He-Man, they were like, let's sell some toys. And then She-Ra, they were like, hey, people actually like this. Let's make a good show.
No, they were like, let's sell some toys to girls.
Let's sell some toys to girls, and girls are smarter than boys, so they need a story. An actual legit story where it doesn't just end in punching.
There is a Netflix show called The Toys That Made Us. And I haven't watched the whole thing. I only watched a couple episodes about toys that I was interested in. But
Sure.
The He-Man episode is totally solid. It's
awesome.
Yeah, it gets into all that. Very good episode. So,
and it kind of gets into just how crazy those toys were. Like like you go in and you're like, what is this? Is this like a caveman barbarian thing? Is it outer space? What's going on with this show? And you kind of find out that they were just making it up as they go along.
Oh yeah.
To the point where like 2 or 3 guys actually argue over who created He-Man.
Yep.
And that's a great documentary. Again, on Netflix.
He was pitching the toys to some guys, and they're like, okay, well, but we need something else to sell this. Well, there's a comic book.
Yeah,
and then,
didn't we tell you?
Yeah, didn't we tell you there's a comic book? Oh, there's a comic book. Yeah, but little kids can't read. Oh, there's a TV show. There's a cartoon.
Didn't we tell you?
Yeah, and it's just salesmen pulling crap out of their behinds to like sell these toys, and then they're like, okay, well, we better do this, and it all
to places like Toys. Was it Toys R Us?
I
that
think
was like,
so.
Yeah, but little kids can't read.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was all just salesmen like riffing, trying to get these toys sold, and then they're like, okay, well, I guess we better make this, and it all became wildly popular.
Yep.
It's
Right.
good. It's pretty good.
The last thing that I have, it's not really an EMC podcast thing, but Randy, and I know that Jasper already said it, but we should say it here too. Congratulations on doing over 100 podcasts about hacking news.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations, Randall.
Thank you. Yes, over 100 episodes of the latest God, I say it every day. You think I'd remember. Latest hacking news podcast. Wow, I'm pitching this well. latesthacking.news.com. Yeah, over 100 episodes. It's a Monday through Friday cybersecurity and hacker news podcast. They're about 5 minutes long each episode. The idea it's like a daily brief. You can get it on Alexa somehow, and get your cyber news wrap up, cybersecurity news wrap up every day. You should check it out. But yeah, over 100 episodes. I think tonight's will be like 106 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or tomorrow's. So.
Yeah, and people who listen to this might even like know cyber stuff that they could care about that.
Mm-hmm. I think if you don't have to have extreme knowledge of it. The executive producer, the owner of the show, this is client work. I do it for a client. His goal was for the show to be not just specifically at like professionals, kind of have a wider appeal. So yeah, I try to focus on, and I try not to get too technical, but technical enough for the people who know what they're talking about. So
yeah.
And when you say brief, you mean like episodes are how long?
5 minutes long. I usually cover three or four news headlines. So 3 or 4 news headlines in about 5 minutes.
Yep.
Gives me enough time to get like all the good, dive into them a little bit. And yeah, and then you're off. you enjoy your day and tune back in the next day for the next episode.
Or if you're scared or something that your stuff might not be up to par, you could always go to
latesthhackingnews.com.
Yeah.
And if you like the sound of it and you want me to produce a podcast for you, to go to podedit.com.
Oh, podedit.com.
Podedit.com. I'm a podcaster by trade.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's weird. It's very strange.
Living the dream. Living the dream.
It's very unusual doing a show for somebody else. You know, because like Grawlix and any other show that I've done up to this point that where I'm like a host on it, you know, it's a show that I want. It's about a thing that I like. Mm-hmm. And being a paid host and producer it's a very different experience, but it's enjoyable as well.
If I had money, I'd pay you.
I'd take your money.
I know. Actually, we should do that sometime.
You're going to pay me to make a podcast?
No, I'm going to make a podcast and I'm going to pay you to edit it.
Oh yeah, I told you I'd edit your podcast anyway. I want to hear the Melanie Show. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's
entertainment.
That's not what it's going to be called.
No, I know. What would it be called?
Why aren't you amazed?
Why aren't you amazed? That's right. It'll be all about the amazing science things that happen that people need to know about.
That would be a good show.
I know. It'd be fantastic.
Every episode would be Melanie telling you about the thing and be like, "Why aren't you amazed?"
That's exactly right. That's exactly what it'll be.
I like it.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway. So.
Hey, why aren't we amazed about robots?
Well, because we're scared of them because they're going to take over and murder us all. Like in
right.
Westworld.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing when they do.
It is. It's freaking awesome.
So this is exciting. So we're going to talk about Westworld. I'm assuming mostly specifically season 2, but Jesse, you just recently got into the whole series, right?
Well, I watched season 1 not too long after it came out.
Oh, okay.
And then season 2 came along, and you were getting involved in doing a podcast, and I thought, oh, you know what, I'm gonna do a binge of season 2 because you can do like a 7-day trial on Amazon Prime of HBO stuff. So we did, and I was like, okay, we just got to plan it out and make sure that we've got like the days to go ahead and watch maybe 1 or 2 episodes a day, because was there 10?
Yeah,
10 or 13. I mean, it's around there. And so I was like, well, I want to be able to tune into this podcast. So whenever we get a chance, I want to be able to watch the show. So we did. We queued into the 7-day trial, and we, in 7 days, literally 7 days, like the next day I had to cancel it or else get charged, we watched season 2.
Awesome.
So it's pretty fresh. It's pretty fresh in my mind.
We watched it for the most part as it came out. I think we were a week behind on episodes, but we watched it week to week.
Were we a week behind?
Yeah. Yeah, because it airs on Sunday.
Oh, okay. I see.
And so we'd watch it the next weekend when you come over on Saturday.
Yeah, but we would watch one, and the next one hadn't aired yet when we watched the one we watched, but it would air that next day.
Yeah, so we were 6 days behind.
Right.
And I'm excited because I don't think we've discussed season 2 with Jesse at all yet. Since it's so fresh.
I didn't expect it to go where it decided to go.
What were your thoughts?
I don't know. I was confused a little bit here and there because of the time jumping, more so than I was before.
I liked the structuring of it this season. It's different than the first season. The first season did time jump, but I feel like this season they intentionally structured it confusingly because they didn't have that big time jump that they were going to reveal from they had in season 1. And they also did it to keep the mystery going throughout the season.
Right.
But I think it works. And they also came up with they tied it into a reason.
Yeah.
Bernard's memory was all jacked up. So
right.
I was on board with it. I think a lot of people were not. I don't think a lot of people enjoyed it. I think it was too confusing for some people. And it kind of turned them off of the season. But I was fine with it.
Well, it was confusing, but I wasn't going to stop watching. Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, it's intriguing. I mean, that's that confusion is like, oh, will I get more clarity on this bit, you know?
And it's fantastic because then they get to ask, is this real? Is this now? Oh, I love that. Anyway.
Yeah.
And is this now? You get that throughout the season. And, you know, like as soon as I hear it, I'm like, no, it's totally not now.
Yeah, if they're asking, it's not.
Like you're asking, and I remember season 1. It's totally not now.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, not to say I didn't get confused by the time jump a bit. I did. There's points where I'm like, okay, which Bernard is this? Where at what point is he doing this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then we see, oh man, that's quite a jump into the future. But I mean, like there is at one point where I'm like, there's two going at the same time. I thought for a while there was 2 Bernards simultaneously doing 2 different tasks.
Oh man.
And they clear that up. But for a minute there, I was convinced. I was like, no, this is Bernard 1. This is Bernard 2.
They totally could have. They showed other
I was going
Bernards.
to say they had a whole room full of Bernards.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like later on, they show this whole room full of them, and they were like, "Oh, that was the big reveal for some of the characters." And I was like, "Oh no, we've had 2 Bernards for God knows how long. No wonder it's been confusing."
And that's on top of flashbacks to what we assumed was
Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's on top of Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, is this? Yeah, because they do mimic what we saw in season 1 between Dolores and Arnold,
which was a great reversal, a great flip.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think like the series itself, we're just gonna have to jump around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just like, listener, if you haven't watched Westworld season 2, for one, you should not listen to this. We're just gonna jump all over.
We've already confused you.
Yeah. If there's spoilers in there somewhere, and I don't know how to tiptoe around it to avoid spoilers, so we're gonna
jump around dropping spoiler bombs. So don't listen.
We're gonna get up to get down.
Mm-hmm.
As I slur that out, get out. So if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. I think the general consensus is that it's good.
No, the general consensus is that it's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
Okay,
so that out of the way. One thing that's interesting is the end of season 1, I was like, ooh, you could kind of see where they were going to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, when we finally get it, where I assumed they were going to take it is like the end of season 1's like, oh, they're actually going to get to the big like climax. The original Westworld movie, that was the big climax, was the actual like robot massacre. Like they're coming to kill everybody. So that's what it seemed like season 1 was setting up. Mm-hmm. That's like the one part we don't get in season 2.
I know.
It skips all around the actual massacre.
Totally jumps it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it like you skirt it, like you see some of it, but for the most part, it jumps back and forth all around it.
Mm-hmm.
But the end of season 2, no clue where they're going to go. Like I can't, I just have no idea how they're going to proceed from this point.
Right.
Well, and then they gave us some nods at the end of season 1 that play in heavily to season 2, but they don't go into it right away. They make us wait for it. And I mean Shogun World. Like they gave us just hints of that at the end of season 1. And it was like, so we're like, oh, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And then it happens, but it doesn't happen until we get a reveal of like basically India World.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so, yeah, you're right. We hit India World out of nowhere before we ever go to Shogun World.
Yeah.
Right.
At that point, I was getting a little discouraged. I was like, they're not going to do Shogun World. But but they did. And
they did.
It was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. I love everything they did with the madam. What's her name? Maeve? Maeve, yeah. The majority of it. That was freaking awesome. It's like almost like this is going to be the Matrix. Oh.
Yeah, she is. She's Neo in Westworld, which is, I mean, I guess they set that up a bit in season 1, but I thought they were going to end up taking Dolores that way, and they don't. They hint at it. Like she brings some robots back, but only like once or twice. But yeah, Maeve, they make the Neo of the Westworld, and she's awesome. Yeah, they gave her the coolest slow motion.
Would you say they
in this?
Afford her the most privileges?
Oh, dude. The scene where, okay, so this is later in the season. She's all jacked up. Who knows what time period this is. Oh, man. But she's all jacked up. And
visual effects on that.
Oh, yeah. Well, when she gets out of that and like the security guys are coming with the guns and all was it buffalo or...
Yes.
Steers or whatever, bust through the hallway, and then she's just walking in slow motion and like they're like gourding dudes and taking dudes off over the like just that whole sequence
And
was so
they're not
cool.
even like completed buffalo. They're like
No.
3/4 done, and the back legs are all robotic. And oh man,
that and her like kind of climax in the Shogun world.
Where she just makes everyone murder each other.
Yeah, and it's just she's just standing there and there's just blood spray. It's just so awesome. They give her the coolest stuff.
they really play with her abilities too. Like there's a point where she's like, I can't control, like she can't control them. And it's because, well, for whatever reason, if you didn't use their language, then they can't hear your commands.
Oh yeah.
Like before she totally unlocks everything,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because that's why they had us go to Shogun World, I think, so that she could realize that ability.
Yeah.
And therefore talk to the Native American people.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing was weird too, where he's talking to her as
I
a little
love
girl,
that.
but
I
it's
love
she's
that
the little
episode.
girl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
Surprising, like okay, so we're going to talk about the one, basically it ties into the larger plot, but it's kind of a one-off episode where we get the story of that Native American guy. I don't have the name for
the
him.
ghost tribe or whatever.
Yeah. And the whole episode is his story where he's been basically because he hadn't died, he'd been out in the park for decades and never
He's
been
one of the oldest hosts in the park.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole story came out of nowhere, and I thought it was
I
awesome.
love that episode.
I think a lot of people kind of consider that one of the standout episodes of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good.
It was awesome.
It's like I didn't know I wanted this guy's backstory, but I do. It's awesome.
Right.
Speaking of other awesomes, I know we're just hit. I'm just hitting
jumping
the
around.
cool stuff.
We're jumping so hard. We're jumping higher than Mario.
We're Westworld in this.
well, it's not. I don't think it's possible to just straight go across it. You know.
No,
They
you
don't.
can't.
We can't.
You're right.
Dolores' soldiers, the creepy ones with the masks.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I thought those were the like, because she comes across one group and they just massacre them. And then I thought she brought a bunch of them back because she does that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She doesn't use that ability very much in this season.
No.
Well, but she turns so evil. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, you don't deserve to be there or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She goes way darker than I expected.
And the stuff she does to what's his butt?
Oh.
I can't remember his name, but that her male companion guy.
Mm-hmm.
Teddy.
Teddy.
The stuff she does to
Oh,
Teddy
man.
is messed up. But
Heartbreaking.
at the end with him, that was like the best stuff right
Yeah.
there. When he's like, I know I've seen where what you want us to become, and I can't go there or whatever,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that episode is super heavy.
Yeah, it is.
Teddy's last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she goes super dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she's still awesome, but first season, like you get behind her because you're like, oh, she's going to be the leader of like the robot revolution.
You're right.
But then she is becoming the leader of the robot revolution. And you're like, oh, that's not really a good thing.
Yeah, that's
it's
not
like
what we wanted.
anti Planet of the Apes, like how Planet of the Apes, you kind of get behind the apes because the humans are such awful people. And the humans are awful, don't get me wrong, but like she goes so dark that you're like, I want to root for you, but you're bad.
Because she's not. It's not even that she's like anti people. Yay her people. She's like, no, we're all gonna die. Basically, is kind of the way that it seems that she wants it to
She
go.
does kind of take it that way. The juxtaposition between her and Maeve are interesting because they're both set up to be the leaders of this robot resistance or whatever, revolt. But Maeve is on a more personal mission, obviously.
The difference I think, and the reason that people can get behind Maeve is because Maeve is, I want us to be free from the humans to be us.
Mm-hmm.
And what's her name?
Dolores?
Dolores is like, I want us to be free from the humans so that we can be the new humans.
Yeah.
And that's not the same thing at all.
Yeah, and it's not even going to be all of us. It's going to be the ones that I decide.
Yeah. And I'm all for them being able to be themselves without us interfering. But
And Maeve can be brutal and cold, but she's still like the writer gets kind of a character arc and kind of gets her respect. Mm-hmm. So she's not just like, she can be brutal, but she can also like, she has emotion to her.
she's inspiring.
Yeah, and she can empathize with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And not that Dolores doesn't have emotion, because she does, but she just could turn it all off. She just can be brutal. And that's the big point behind the whole Teddy plot.
not just that, but okay. One of the big things for me, they made the people who made Westworld, which one of them I can't remember. I think it was not Arnold, the other guy. Ford made an afterlife for them that they could have if they wanted.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And what's your butt was like. Maeve was like, yeah, let's get the people there and they'll be safe and then they can be forever happy. And Dolores was like, no, that's fake. We're not having that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you just allow that for them? Because that's what they want. Let them have it. Let them be happy there.
That's so interesting because, yeah, like I get it. Yeah, if that's what they want, they should be able to do that and they'll be relatively safe. And it's also kind of like, so long as the machine stays up, eternal life.
Mm-hmm.
And Dolores' whole point is, yeah, for one, that's fake. And for two, nothing's real unless there's consequences, unless it's, temporary. Mm-hmm. If they actually have a threat where if they die, they're done, then it becomes real for her. But I kind of understand her point too. Not the death aspect, but that's fake. Like I kind of get her point there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't destroy it.
Exactly.
And at that point, everybody
They're all
who's
in
there.
there.
Yeah.
That was I'm like, my opinion of her was going down the whole time. But when that was her decision, like, I'm going to destroy their afterlife because it's not real. Well, it's not. So what? Who gives a crap if it's real or not? That's what they wanted. Let them freaking have it. It doesn't disturb you in any way.
Right.
But that's when I started disliking her, maybe. Which is really far into it for me to start disliking her, but.
That was her mantra, too, is like, we don't all deserve to make it. I was like, ooh, that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
There's something I didn't even consider. There's a lot of potential to dig into religious themes there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I didn't contemplate it before, but
no.
Hearing you say it now, yeah.
How could there not be with the one guy, the prototype for the reason they were doing the whole thing anyway, to make robots that have the human's soul basically in them?
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about that one guy then with the...
Is it William's father-in-law?
Yeah,
yes.
Where that's one of the phrases from this season. Every season they have like these great little phrases.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the phrases from where it's one of those phrases where they like it comes up and then later it comes up again and you're like, oh snap! It's the first season's
for fidelity.
That's it for this season. It's
Yeah.
we're checking for fidelity. And the first season it was that doesn't look like anything to me. Where you hear it, but then you hear it later in a different context.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. And this season it was definitely, there was a few, but it was definitely the fidelity one.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole thing where the guy is, and you see young William and old William there, so you get an idea of a crazy passage of time. And I don't remember how many iterations they said they tried, but
oh my god, yeah.
But then they like just end up like what? They leave him in there?
In the last one?
Yeah. Until we find him later, and he's totally crazy, and he makes mention to something, and you have no context for it until you get the flashback when she's basically facing what's his name? Was it Logan? He basically takes on the personage of Logan, and he is the library of all the people that have ever.
Oh, okay.
That whole thing.
Yeah. He was William's buddy. I guess brother-in-law in the first season.
Yeah, because the father-in-law is like, I mean, he's breaking down, but he's using these phrases that mean everything to that original person, but we don't know what it means, and then we come to find out what it means later.
See, and that's the thing where I could get some complaints about the show and this season to where it seems like it's not lazy screenwriting, but it seems like a trick where they're like intentionally withholding information. And generally that's something I hate when they do. But they handle it so well, and I think it adds a lot to the experience in this that I'm fine with it, where they intentionally present things out of order or in a way to keep the mystery going. Sometimes that doesn't work, but I think in Westworld, I think it works fine. I like it.
They gave us a lot more peeks outside the park in this season too. Just a peek, like here and there. Basically, like a pitching Westworld to what's his name.
That was fantastic.
Right. And we were like guessing. It was like, oh no, she's a host. And then we're like, I don't know. I think everyone's a host. And well, maybe she's the only one that's not a host. Nope. They're all hosts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there were a couple of them that we knew were already because we had seen them in Westworld. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really didn't expect it to be everybody because some of those people were not that attractive, and I mean,
Well, yeah, you got to throw. You can't have them all attractive people in there. You got to throw them off.
yeah, but I mean, for a pitch, that's a lot of work for a pitch. Come on. But it was an amazing one, and who's going to say no to that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when your pitch guarantees a sale, you could pour a lot into it.
It's such an ensemble cast, you know, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, where do you go? Because we could talk a lot more about Shogun World and the fact that basically, like, they really tie into the idea that the writer was being lazy. I love that. I love
it's
that.
The same plot line, same characters, same plot
yeah.
lines, just different setting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Well, that makes sense, though.
the interesting dynamic between the mirror characters, like the two dragon tattoo ladies, kind of seem to get along. But
Yeah.
the two like gang leaders do not. They're just eyeballing each other.
Well, because they're the type that would be suspicious.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Actually, didn't the
Well, and
two
it's-
dragon ladies like kind of get it on?
Yeah. Oh well, I don't. Yeah,
Well,
they
they
liked each other.
kinda
I think
like
they really
stared
liked
at
each other.
Stared at each other quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
And I mean,
When
I
then-
don't know, but I thought they were of that, you know.
The
Persuasion.
swordsman was named Musashi, so the whole time I'm like, is he a historical archetype? Like is he, or is he just like a fictional Musashi? And then later on, he busts out double swords, and I'm like, he's Musashi.
Oh, nice.
He's Miyamoto. Maybe.
Nice.
I don't know. Doesn't even matter. He busted out two swords.
But yeah. But you know it does. Like
Oh
they
yeah,
put it in there.
Yeah,
That's
you're
great.
not gonna throw that name around and not.
One thing that I was not entirely certain what the point was. So obviously, the like putting people into robots isn't working.
Yeah.
They can't figure it out. But I don't really understand entirely why Ford put himself in with
Bernard.
Bernard. I mean, it could just kind of seem to make him a little bit crazy.
Well,
But-
it led him to, so he could lead Bernard to where he wanted Bernard to go.
I think it was Ford not being able to let go. You know, like he plugged himself into the cradle, which is basically like I don't know, like a backup drive, and they could exist longer there than in a robot for some reason.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I got that.
Well, there was something about Bernard that it would work where he could stay in Bernard. But I think the point was because he needed Bernard to do things. He
Right.
wanted Bernard to basically go unlock Maeve's potential and some other stuff that led towards the end of the season or whatever.
But he erased him or something.
But he didn't really.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I don't understand that
did.
whole thing.
Bernard kind of like
you-
remember Bernard kind of manufactured him as a I don't know, almost like a guide. I don't know.
No, you're
So
right.
was he really ever there then?
I mean, they kind of said that yeah, he was until he actually deleted him. But yeah, beyond that, no.
Okay.
And what's her name? Elsie?
Okay.
Who accompanies Bernard through a big chunk of this season?
Mm-hmm.
Gets killed again.
Yeah. For real this time.
Yeah, it definitely seems for real this time. Of course, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
She'll be back.
She's probably a robot.
She was a host. Yeah.
Yep.
I like that was wasn't that the moment he's like, oh no, I made the wrong choice.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. There are a lot of characters in this because we get new characters. We get the one chick who hangs out with Thor. What's her?
What's her name? Yeah.
The Valkyrie. I don't know what her name is in this show or her actual name.
I did know it, but it's not coming to my mind. I want to say Hand or Hall or something like that.
We get her, and that's not. There's a big twist with her. That's not. I thought it was good. I think it's possible to see it coming, but they don't, really tip their hand toward.
I didn't see it coming at all.
I don't think they tip their hand toward till way late. So, but yeah, I liked it. I thought that was good.
Charlotte Hale.
I like her. She's good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, now that leads us to jumping way to the end of the season, 2 Doloreses.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was kind of like, oh, so is that one actress going to be gone? Because I liked her too. She's Dolores, even though they're robot consciousnesses. But no, she's back again, and also in the one chick's body. So
Yeah, how does that work?
Oh yeah. In those final scenes, man. Yeah, spoilers here. As if we weren't spoiling the whole thing, but what does it mean? Because we see Evan Rachel Wood, and we see like not very long later, we see Tessa Thompson. So we see both Charlotte and Dolores's bodies. And
With Dolores
maybe they're both the same.
Both
Who
inhabited
knows?
by Dolores, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's a robot?
Right. Well, and then, like we mentioned, they haven't really cracked the code on people being robots, but maybe they have when we think about the after scene.
What's the after scene?
When we have Ed Harris and the Man in Black, and we get to find out about his
Is that where
his fidelity.
Oh yeah. Yeah, is that where we have the
I mean, we're the whole time we basically are pretty sure that Ed Harris is at least William in this thing. But at some point, basically at the very end, it becomes questionable. Like, has he ever been William? Like, we don't know if Ed Harris has ever been William or if he's just been a host.
I love what it's so brutal and dark, but I love what they do with his character and his daughter. And they push him to the point where he's like digging around in his arm because he doesn't know if he's even real, which ties into then the after scene. Does he have the line, "I'm in the thing, aren't I"?
Yeah, I think
it's him, which is so good there. I'm in the thing, aren't I? And it seems like they go like almost Inception level in terms of like going inside this. What did you call it? Oh, the cradle.
Yeah.
The Matrix, whatever.
Well, there's the cradle, and then there's whatever the other story. Was it the valley? There's the cradle and the valley. The cradle is basically the backup for their personalities, and that's where we find Ford. He's been implanted into there, and that's what he used to basically set off the revolution. But then there's the valley where all the people that have ever visited the park, where their data is stored.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Because that's kind of the big reveal of this season, like what's the motivation behind the corporation itself is they're basically super Facebook.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They're freaking Facebook.
For real. They made it totally relevant to what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, snap. Topical.
They're collecting everybody's analytics.
Yeah.
Or they're
like
collecting
to that
analytics
next
on everybody.
level. Like, we could basically clone you if we could figure it out.
Exactly.
Well, what was the librarian talking about?
Part of the issue they were having is they were overcomplicating people.
Yeah.
And they actually had to boil it down to people are extremely simple. And that's once we figured that out, we could basically make copies or whatever. I love that idea.
That's where the Man in Black, it's like, okay, I think they cracked the code at that point. Like obviously they hadn't figured it out for his father-in-law, but by the time we see the Man in Black, we've basically used this technology to put him in hell.
Yeah.
So he can experience the same thing on a loop, preacher style.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know. The season was really good. I was not disappointed. I'm trying to think of criticisms. If anything, we don't get a lot of glimpse to the outside world. We don't really see in the city or anything, but we see the city. It kind of just looks like Earth City.
Right.
So I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe I'm slightly disappointed in that, but then again, who knows?
I guess if I have criticisms, it's the dangling plot threads, and I don't really feel like I'm criticizing that because I don't feel like they're dangling. I feel like they just haven't been connected yet, because that's what this show does, is it leaves you these what seem like dangling plot threads, and then nope, they're not dangling. They're headed somewhere. And the two that really stick out to me, that moment where they find basically a pool or like a pond, or I don't know what the technical term for it is, but it's basically like a bay, basically hosts just floating in the water. It's either hosts or people, and they're all just floating in the water. And Bernard's like, I killed them.
No,
I killed them all. And we never see that. Like, did he kill them all?
That's one of my favorite moments, because they set that up first episode, second episode, and they leave it hang till the last episode. Those are the bodies from the people that ran into the portal, into the.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. But
they fell off the
know
cliff.
If they really solidified that as that's what actually happened. Okay, that's what I thought happened, but I wasn't sure. And then what's his name? Skarsgård, basically. The bald guy. I don't know if they really needed an arc for that guy or if they needed an arc for those people at all. They're basically just a cleanup crew, but I also feel like they didn't give us a whole lot with that crew or him in particular. Like what does he have to do with it aside from being a stooge that comes in to clean things up?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a known actor, so like he's gonna have a part, but he felt like he had a big part, but he didn't feel like he had a big part. And that's probably not over.
Well, no, when they're about to go have wartime now.
It depends on what happens, how they follow this season up. Depends on season 3, because there is there are a lot of various things that it sets up or little threads, dangling threads that if they fail to execute on season 3 would retroactively make season 2 sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I don't think they're going to. So
right.
I in the long run, I don't feel like season 2 will seem sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see that because it does feel kind of all over the place. But it does pretty well. Even the stuff, I mean, even if it doesn't answer everything, it still ties everything together fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you went through and watched it, I haven't watched it a second time, but I feel like if you went through and watched it a second time, it would feel more cohesive.
Sense,
yeah.
I think we should watch all of it a second time.
Yeah, I really want to go back and watch season 1 again now. Carl Strand is the character that Gustav Skarsgård plays. And I only know him as Floki from the History Channel's Viking series. And he plays Floki. I mean, like, he's crazy. So it's a total different role for him. And he acts the crap out of both of them. So
I'm not sure the status of debugging Westworld, the podcast. I was doing with Dustin. I'm not sure what the status on that is. I know he's a busy dude. But that was one of the things that I was most excited for, was to rewatch the whole series. Mm-hmm. And I got as far as to rewatching the first 2 episodes of the first season. And yeah, like even just those 2 episodes, it's very interesting rewatching them with all the knowledge that I have now.
Yeah.
There's some things that play a bit different. And I'm assuming as season 1 goes, there's a lot of stuff that'll play out quite a bit different.
I want to watch the Ghost Nation with like much more... like I want to watch those guys closely now because I'm like,
right?
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it obvious because they play into season 1, but is it obvious that they're awake? Because he's awake the whole time,
He seems like he seems like the first one, kind of.
Well, I think he is. He may be the first one to wake up, far before Dolores even.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least she might have woken up, but then
they reset her because
Yeah.
she dies all the time. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I really liked his storyline. How weird it would be
as
to
a
be in
gamer.
that situation.
As a gamer, it's like the story of that NPC that never really gets involved in the main quest, so he never dies, so he's been there the longest kind of thing.
And he's like aware enough to like know when things are changed. Like, oh, they patched this. Why are these different people now?
Yeah.
He's just wigging out.
They totally nerfed this level. What?
And then he just goes off and he's doing his own thing for a long time, investigating stuff. He's completely off story for who knows how long.
It's interesting that not only do they like reset people and have them doing different things, playing different characters, but then they'll completely replace them, which was a whole other thing for him, with different robots.
Oh, and he found the one lady in cold storage.
Mm-hmm.
Cold storage, yeah.
Which is a bit of a stretch of how, like, that he managed to get there and get out without being seen. But, woo.
But it was such a creepy, like, even that whole sequence is like, he was able to do that, like kind of eye-rolly, but not really at the same time. The way it's shot, I don't even care that it's unlikely that he got down there. It's just like, oh my God, this is heartbreaking.
Exactly. And the emotional impact of it and the horror of it, like, it works. Like, it's one of those things, it's suspension of
disbelief,
You can totally overlook it because the end result is way more impactful than whatever nitpick you might have about, did he really get down there and blah, blah, blah. So, it was awesome. That's my review of the whole season.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Both seasons,
awesome.
The whole series so far.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, it just continues to be like, it's still so much more than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Even knowing what it is now, they managed to surprise.
Westworld was not the movie. I mean, was not anything like any of this, in my opinion.
No, Westworld, the movie was, I mean, I guess you'd call it, it was a sci-fi horror flick. It was a You could. This is still technically like sci-fi horror thing, but it was essentially a slasher movie in a way. It's it's technology gone wrong, and then it boils down to the man in black is a robot who's gone bad, and he's chasing our protagonist down, and the robots have gone crazy. They're killing him. It's it's that kind of thing. And
so they waited until season 2 to reveal that the man in black is actually a robot.
Yeah, the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Which even changes my interpretation of that, because I love the idea that they flipped that in the first season. They're like, the man in black, he's a bad dude, but he's a human. He's the man in black to the robots. But then this season, it's like, well, maybe not. Maybe he's not that, although he is a psychopath.
But if he doesn't know what he is, does that change it? Like if he spends the whole time thinking that he's human?
I think the interesting thing is like it's kind of getting to the point where, especially towards the end of the second season, where it's like, is the one security guy a robot? Like,
yeah, it's getting to the point where it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
consciousness is consciousness.
Which is interesting. It might even be the biggest, the overarching theme of the entire show is like, does it matter?
Right.
So I think that's
what it's going to get to. Was there a part with the son of Arnold, or am I crazy?
That played more into season 1, but they did drop lots of reminders in season 2.
Oh, did they?
And even at the very, very end, he picks up the photo of Arnold, or not Arnold's son, or was it Arnold's son or the manufactured
It'd be
son?
Bernard's son. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought Bernard was Arnold.
Well,
sort of.
Not kind of. I mean, he's modeled on Arnold,
right?
But he's
I can't remember if
because that's how they made him
totally manufactured, or if he steals basically parts of Arnold's backstory.
Right.
I think that's how they made him work, though, is that they had to change him. I mean, at which point, did they actually continue Arnold on if they had to change him to where he's a different person? That's not really Arnold, and so it's not really the same thing. I don't know.
Okay.
Good question.
Right.
It's more things for them to play with.
I just felt like maybe it's my brain. Some point where they had Arnold's son be born from the robot goo.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
I don't recall anything like that.
Okay, good.
I mean, it may be, but I don't recall.
Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I made it up in my head.
Maybe you're writing the story before they even get to it.
It could be.
He shows up in the real world. Woo! What if Bernard's son is a real person that they just used? He's the Westworld version of that fake family in the photograph. That's actually an actor that actually exists somewhere, and Bernard's going to run into his kid. But it's not actually his kid. It's just the actor that played his kid.
Yeah. What if his kid is Arnold?
What? Mind blown.
Yep. Or it's Maeve's dad.
Maybe. Or maybe.
Oh, wait, Maeve wouldn't have a dad, though.
And all the robots are where? They got beamed somewhere. Afterlife robots.
So how much of that got destroyed?
What?
She was destroying them, but didn't he last second redirect where it was beamed?
Yeah, that's what it was.
So they're somewhere, but we don't know where.
You're right.
They're bouncing around the universe.
Yeah, she was wholesale genociding.
Yeah, she was.
All of them. Oh. And then real quick, because talking about Bernard made me remember. First off, that guy's a fantastic actor. I like him.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But also, I want to note, what is his name? Teddy.
Marsden. James Marsden. Cyclops.
Other than the fact that it looks like he had work done.
Possibly.
The actor, it looks like he had work done. His face looked different this season. But anyway, he did great because his switch between
this
Teddy
is his best acting I've ever
evil
seen.
Teddy,
yeah.
Quote unquote evil Teddy, two different people. Which is, Bernard's done where you see stuff with Arnold. He just carries himself so different. But Teddy got to do that this season. And I thought it was super effective. He just carries himself like a completely different person. Dolores has done that too. But really good.
I mean, we've seen James Marsden in some pretty big roles, throughout his career. But I gotta say, this is the first time where I'm like, holy cow, this guy can legit act, because in the past he's been given pretty wooden characters like Cyclops, who just, he just toes the company line. And that one guy that was basically Lois Lane's love interest in Superman Returns. I mean, basically a throwaway character.
Dude, he always gets to be like somebody's boyfriend that they really don't love. Isn't that like always who he plays?
Yeah, it seems like. Yeah.
Like he's a nice
but
guy.
In this
but
one, at least it was like he gets some agency as an actor and as a character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His character finally gets to have a say in his own fate.
That's kind of his big plot, his big character arc was getting that agency.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to do the faithful boyfriend thing and fought against it to even after where she changed him, like rewrote him. He still was like, no, this is not working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this show sucks.
Yeah, I don't watch this show. It's confusing.
Yeah, it's good. Like it's one of those shows where I'll hear people I hear people say like they can't get into it or they don't like it or they'll, kind of poke at it, and I'm like, I'm not okay. Dustin Smothers has very strong opinions about that. He kind of falls into the like, if you don't get it, well, you're just dumb. Like he's not rude. He's not as rude as that.
Sure.
But his thinking falls into that line, and I'm not going to be that harsh, but I just can't understand not enjoying the show.
Yeah.
I can understand being confused by it, but if you just stick with it long enough. And also I like a show that makes me question things.
But no, I mean, like it's written very smartly. And so, yeah, you're going to have to be ready to go. You're going to have to be ready to go places emotionally, intellectually. It's going to make you question some things politically, sociopolitically, even religiously. It makes you ask yourself some hard questions. And so maybe it's not for the meek.
Yeah.
Yep. Jesse just said social politically guarantees a big chunk of the audience is like, no.
Yeah. They were like, nope, not watching that. Nah.
Somebody said it, social political stuff.
That you just abbreviated socialism for me. That's it.
No,
social political that's just socialism. Period.
I'll agree with people that like the things that I hear people complain about. I'll agree are there. It's confusing. That's the main thing.
That doesn't make it a bad thing.
That does not knock it out for me because it always comes through with a reason. Like it's not just confusing for confusing's sake.
Right.
It's doing something.
I think in the end, it's going to be like, are we a hologram? And then it's going to say, yes, we are. And this is why. And then we're all going to be like, oh, that's going to be the end.
It's series like this that I think really put HBO back on the map. I mean, Game of Thrones is in the same boat, but in a different way. But it's this level of production. It's this level of care to a television series, of episodic storytelling that has HBO still on kind of another level of TV storytelling.
For sure. And I'm so glad it's done well because that's the risk with smart TV is, because it's a smart TV show and that doesn't always land with audiences. And I'm so glad it's done well because they were banking on this hard. They poured so much money into that first season because they knew Game of Thrones was coming to an end. They needed something. And I'm glad that this has actually panned out for them. And I think season 2 was potentially also a risk. The first season was wildly popular. And if season 2 fell flat, that could kill the show, I think.
And to be fair, HBO has not always landed the second season. True Detective is a good example of that.
Let's talk about bombing. Yeah, first season was wildly popular. Second season,
I didn't see it, but
I watched a few episodes at one point and then fell off. I was like, I just don't care
because there's no Matthew McConaughey.
That's a risk. That's a risk, and like recasting and doing that kind of thing, like that can work. It's just where they went with the second season. The characters weren't compelling. Michael McConaughey was compelling.
We're torturing his name, man.
Michael McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey.
Michael.
Woody's partner.
Matthew.
Woody's partner.
Leather guy. That doesn't sound right either. All right. You don't even have to say his name. Just say that. Everyone knows who you're talking about.
Be like cooler if you did.
Yeah, exactly. I drive wait, what is that car? Just commercials he did.
Do you know he has an obsession with brushing his teeth?
A Lincoln.
I drive a Lincoln.
That's a safe car.
And I stare at bowls.
He brushes his teeth for 45 minutes every time. He does it like 3 times a day.
He brushes his teeth for 45 minutes 3 times a day?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you've seen
My teeth get younger and I stay the same age.
Like he doesn't. No part of him ages. It's just his teeth get younger.
Mm-hmm.
My baby teeth just fell in.
It's great.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's real weird. We took a dark turn.
All right. Well, that's all I got for Westworld talk, man. Until Dustin gets a hold of me, of course.
There could always be more, but
this is where we should we should plug in a pimp for that show. But
okay, so someday, I'm assuming it's still coming. I don't know when it's happening. We've recorded 1 episode debugging Westworld. It'll be on the Pro Wrestling Mothership Network and EMC by extension. We recorded 1 episode covering the first episode of Westworld, first season, first episode. I'm assuming the series will continue on. I don't know when. But I can tell you this, from just that first episode, like as much as we discussed season 2 this episode, we can go as long, if not longer, on each episode easily. Each episode gives you something to discuss and dissect. So
it's so meaty.
It is meaty. It's like a big old roast beef sandwich.
Yeah.
You don't like roast beef sandwiches? That's why I brought it up. Okay.
I know.
I was trying to get more of a reaction from you, but that's okay.
I was thinking of the gristle and the disgust of it, and that's why I had that look on my face.
All right. No letters, but hey, if you want to send in a letter, here's a promo. Here's a clip to tell you how.
Here it is. It's the real future.
I love that bit. Future. It's the real future coming out in 2003. Two. Yeah.
Summer of 2002.
Just go with it. Work with me here.
It's not weird.
Whoa. Who turned out the lights? Where did I end up now? This stupid time traveling Blinkatron, I swear.
There's a Blinkatron. It's just going. Oh. It's okay.
Oh, crap. Shh. Just stay asleep. Okay. All right, well, right place, wrong time. This is fine. I'll just leave him a note. There has to be some paper around here somewhere. Man, it's dark. Now where's some paper? What's this? Puppets. Pokemon. Here we go, paper. Jesse, this is Randy. From in the future!
There's important donuts. There's just... Why would they do that? It's stupid.
Jesse, this is Randy. From in the future. Just leaving this note to remind you to let listeners know how they can send us their feedback for the letters page segment. Be sure to tell them they can send us an email to letters@grawlixpodcast.com. It's GRAWLIX podcast.com. And we'll read it on the show. If they'd like to hear their voice on the show, they can send us a voice recording or do it the old-fashioned way. Pick up a phone and leave us a voice message. The phone number to do that is 559-426-6427. That's 559-426-6427. Or an easier way to remember it is 559-4-COMICS. Tell them to try to keep it under 2 minutes, and remember we do a clean language show, regardless what the YouTube algorithm says. Thanks. Alright, now just to leave this on his nightstand.
Here's a spider buggy.
And with that taken care of, I can try to get back to episode 100.
There's too much exhaust.
Wait a minute. It occurs to me I have a unique opportunity here. That just might be too much magnificent manly beard for one podcast. There can only be one. This is Randy. Doesn't look like Grawlix to me.
This is Jesse. Programs say to kill, to disassemble, to make Grawlix. Number 5 cannot.
This is Melanie, and it's not the ears, honey. It's the Grawlix.
Thank you for listening to the Grawlix Podcast. The Grawlix Podcast is a production of the Electronic Media Collective and Vorpal Arrow Studios. For more Grawlix Podcast, visit grawlixpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/grawlixpodcast. or follow us on Twitter at Grawlix Podcast. We're also everywhere. All the time. All at once. French fries will continue to be French fries unless they're made out of rich people. Then they will truly be freedom fries.
That's good. This is Melanie.
They're still hot.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish yours.
Go.
He just said they're hot.
Oh, they are hot.
Like Paris Hilton hot? Like hot.
No, like they're still burning.
Oh.
Oh.
Like Rome is still burning.